First things first, LeVar, I want to start with the ESPN report that came out prior to the game on Sunday. Assuming that Mike Shanahan was the source behind that, as I think, unless you have other thoughts for who it may have been.
I don't think it matters who the source is. I just know that it's a source that has Mike Shanahan's best interests at mind, at heart.
Okay,
That's
what's
what
the motivation exactly?
If I had to take a stab at what I would assume to be the motivation here, it would be to try to salvage Mike Shanahan's his legacy and his reputation, because this head coaching position has a way of tainting and tarnishing reputations and legacies. He's not, for as much as people may want to assume, he's not a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame. And so if you don't look at him as a shoo-in, if you're trying to do damage control for Mike Shanahan's legacy as it applies to what that may entail going forward, they will look at this time in Washington. They will look at those last years in Denver in terms of looking at, does he belong in those hollowed halls? So I think that whoever released it, whether it's him or someone close to him, this is basically saying, look, I'm going to put this out here so that whether there is a amicable separation between Mike and the Redskins or not, if it is respect when they release, when he's gone, fired, quit, whatever it may be, it says, here is the seed of doubt that was planted at, by the way, a very, very well timed.
That was my next question, the timing.
It's as masterfully
timed. He can still
timed.
Argue that anytime. But
It's
why
as
right before the Kansas City
masterfully
game?
timed as you could possibly make it, because people are really down on this team, and more specifically down on Robert Griffin III. So people are looking for answers as to why there has been such a going backwards, so to speak, for Robert Griffin III and this franchise. I don't want to be the scapegoat here. And so now you're looking at someone who has enough pull and enough influence that it can now be a real discussion had with these leakage things. I mean, is it crazy to think that the leak of Robert Griffin III not wanting his bad film to be viewed, there's just been this systematic plan of chipping away.
Were you surprised when the report came out, Keith, the timing of it?
Well, no, because honestly, I was surprised by the report itself, but this is consistent now with the Redskins. It's happened several times this season, and it becomes a circus atmosphere. right, and I think that may get the coach off the hook for having a bad season, or it was an attempt, and not a thinly veiled one at that, to try to get the coach off the hook for what's turning out to be a disaster of a season, and it's not going to get any better. Now, I don't know if we know for a fact that Mike Shanahan is the source of the story, but that's what everybody thinks. And so now we're at a situation where perception has become reality, and if it was a gambit to improve Shanahan's reputation, I think it actually harmed it.
Dan, is he just trying to force Snyder's hand at this point?
I mean, I can't come up with a better theory than that, really. And I think we're going to talk about this some more, but that effort, if that's the theory, that continued into his press conference on Sunday, where he refused to shoot this down. I mean, he had plenty of times to say, whoever the source of the story was, it's false. That is not the case. I was not planning on quitting. I had not cleaned out my office. He didn't say that on Sunday. He had another chance to say it on Monday. He didn't. Finally, he sort of said, well, I don't have much stuff in my office to begin with, so it wouldn't have taken me very long to clean out. Which is not
take away. That doesn't shoot it down.
The point of the story, which was like, the point of the story is someone out there believes or told ESPN.com that Mike Shanahan was ready to leave this team at the end of last season. If that's not the case, you would do everything in your power to say, that is not the case. My players need to know I was not going to walk out on them, and he didn't do it.
Well, keep in mind, and you have to read between the lines sometimes, because he is very evasive in terms of answering questions, and he doesn't answer questions definitively. Read between the lines that you did have a meeting with Daniel Snyder, and he can say whatever he wants to say in terms of we have 3 wins, so there's going to be a lot of noise. Well, the noise is warranted based upon what's coming out. That's the bottom line.
Look, and Atlanta has 3 wins. Houston is having a bad season. There are a lot of teams across the league.
And Buffalo's like 4 wins?
Right.
There's no drama there.
Right, and there are teams that have had drama. Miami, Tampa Bay, and they wrap up their drama in a couple of weeks. The cycle goes through. They play through the new cycle.
Think about that.
And those teams are winning now.